it's a round.
What are you gonna do with it?
Table.
Hello YouTube, this is Cover 2 Credits! Today we went and watched the new Guy Ritchie,
King Arthur, The Legend of the Sword. Now, the build to this has kind of been different. What I mean by that is, we've been seeing marketing for it on TV, but there's not been a lot of verbal hype about this movie. And it's forecasted to not do well. I personally hope that's wrong. I would love to see a series of these. It'd be cool to see more of this. I enjoyed this movie a lot.
It wasn't great, but it was pretty good.
Exactly. Now, Guy Ritchie is known for a few things. Fast cuts, odd perspective, the slow motion fights in Sherlock Holmes, the Sherlock Holmes series, and it's that's like, to me, that's the staple. If you think about Sherlock Holmes, it's a grungy it's a grungy landscape, and you feel very encased in that. This movie to me did a few things very, very well. It portrayed the time period well and pushed the envelope of things that would not have been in that time period. So, certain things.
Yeah, it was sort of
they didn't cross that line, but they definitely towed that line.
They threw a lot of disparate sort of genres together, I feel like. And they did some weird things with the setting, and they took some liberties with the King Arthur story. And
any of them that bothered you?
The Tower of Babel thing was a little weird.
How the tower was the source of power and things like that?
Yeah, that was I didn't understand what they were doing with that, but it didn't really not work. It was interesting. Like I said, I didn't know there was any King Arthur lore to back that up, but I'm not a huge King Arthur guy. I mean, I
know enough to
looked up a lot of its lore, but not all that much.
I know enough to be able to have a conversation, but I'm not going to be able to. That's like, we see a creature in this movie that comes up 2 or 3 times, and I looked at Kevin and I said, I have no idea who that would be, and neither one of us did. So
it's the octopus chick from Little Mermaid.
Did kind of look like an Ursula.
There's a name for that creature, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't know either. However, okay, so
starts with an M.
The movie, the acting. Okay, let's start with the acting. I enjoyed. I didn't think there was really anybody that acted badly. Jude Law's character is extremely different. So the way he talks and things like that is a very egomaniacal, tyrannical personality, and I thought he portrayed that fairly well. I personally like Charlie Hunnam as an actor most of the time. I watched Sons of Anarchy. He was all right. Pacific Rim. I thought he did this movie well. The rest of the cast of characters, I didn't have any problems with. You've got a handful of people you'll recognize, whether it's from Game of Thrones or other movies, and I didn't really have any issue with anybody. I thought they all kind of played their part well. What do you think of the acting? Then I'll get into something else. Did you agree, or did you have any problems with anything?
No, I mean, like I said, the acting was alright. It wasn't great in some places, but it wasn't terrible.
I have one scene specifically I want to ask you about, because I know you're writing as much as you can. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the part where what do they call them, the blackleg? Yeah. They call the soldiers the blacklegs. When the blackleg guy that he had in his pocket asked him about his day, and they did the whole like verbal carousel through the day. What did you think of that?
I thought that part was pretty sweet.
I thought that was awesome. Now, if you necessarily, that would be a scene I could see people having to watch and then back up and watch again. Because what happens is a conversation between two characters, actually 4 characters, pretty much, and it's like a verbal fist fight. That's the easiest way to show how they did that. I mean, that's the easiest way to. And then they are like showing you other other venue, or like other scenery, what's going on, and then back and then forth and back and forth. And it was, for one thing, shot really, really well. And the fact that that's like the Guy Ritchieism of this movie. That is the one, that and
the 30-second training montage that takes it from adulthood.
Yeah, that was interesting
That
too.
was pretty awesome.
The 3 that to me make this the quintessential Guy Ritchie. There's a montage from adolescent to adulthood for Arthur. That's what, a minute maybe?
Well, not even adolescent, like childhood.
Childhood, yeah.
Childhood to adulthood
Exactly.
is like probably
It's like-
60 seconds.
Exactly. Then there's that conversation fight. Then when you see what happens when Excalibur comes into play at its full potential, you could tell it was a Guy Ritchie movie. I like that. I thought, now I will tell you, magic is involved in this movie. I thought they did magic well. As somebody who listens to a lot of fantasy novels and deals with universes, what did you think of the way they handled magic? Arthurian version of magic, pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, you're using, Arthurian lore has always been sort of a low magic setting,
Yeah.
which makes anything magical pretty cheesily OP. And I mean, they stuck to it,
Yeah.
You've got your animal possessions, but nothing really super crazy happened besides the giant snake thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because I thought...
That was kind of like...
okay, there's one mage you meet in this movie, and no, it is not Merlin, and we don't know her name. Yeah, I'll look it up. I thought she was played well. She did the I'll stand broodingly with black, darkened eyes very well, and change contacts when I deal with different animals. They do some things with hawks and snakes, and she does a few, and I thought it was all well. Now, I'll say this. The visuals in this movie, I enjoyed. Now,
I thought they were pretty good.
Only issue I ever had is if they're sweeping backward or forward in a landscape, nothing's in focus. The end of the movie, they back away from Camelot and kind of move downhill. As this is happening, nothing's in focus. And I'm like, I know that's a shot that was made specifically for the 3D version of this movie. I know that. But I don't get why everything is blurred. You know what I mean? There was nothing that was necessarily like the focal point, which it should have been the city. That was my issue. Seeing everything, because they had some cool architecture and like this, like Camelot built into the side of a mountain, and there's some interesting creatures. There's some giant war elephants that, I mean, when I say giant, I mean like, I don't know how to, like bigger than a building war elephants. Eric Bana plays Arthur's father in probably 10 minutes of the movie. He didn't really have a lot to do, but what he did, I thought was good. The one thing I would say is, if you like Arthurian legend at all, go see this movie. It's a cool rendition of the story. I mean, I would hope it does well enough for a sequel, because there's a lot of things in Arthurian lore that would be interesting. We didn't get a Guinevere, correct? Guinevere?
We didn't get a Guinevere.
No, I'm saying that's correct. He ends up with Guinevere.
Yes, and then
we
she
did
cheats
not
on it with Lancelot.
Exactly. We also didn't get a Lancelot. We did get a, what was his, not Perseus, what was it?
Percival?
Percival. We did get a Percival, which is the only one of the knights that I recognized.
Mm-hmm.
We're also introduced to the Round Table.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, there's also an Asian knight named George. Okay, but I'm gonna let Toad go with his rating first. The first thing I will say is, do you recommend this movie?
Yeah.
I too recommend this movie.
I don't know if I would have made $7 for it.
Yeah.
That was a little steep.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
But I'll say, yeah. I mean, maybe this movie, I could see this movie being really, really good in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously there's some things that would be just gorgeous.
It would definitely make my head hurt.
Oh yeah, probably mine too. Because of the crazy cuts and stuff. But rating, and we'll wrap this up.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I don't think it quite deserves an 8, but it could. It's right
Borderline.
there.
And I mean, I'm gonna start going first because everybody's probably thinking I'm just copying Kevin, but realistically, I'm right there also. I had a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a fun movie more than a good movie.
But that's also not to say that it's bad.
It's not.
One thing we have to make fairly clear is just because somebody doesn't always like things, and we question some things, doesn't mean the movie's bad. We'll come out and tell you when we think the movie's bad. I mean, there's the chance this summer.
What was the one I made you get? Oh, The Great Wall. That was a bad movie.
Great Wall wasn't a good movie. That wasn't a good movie. There is the potential this summer for there to be a string of bad movies. Now, we're hoping that's not the case. For DC's sake...
Stairs hoping that's not the case.
For DC's sake...
I say let it burn.
He really does. He really does. For DC's sake, I hope that they get some good movies off the ground this summer. You saw the Dark Tower trailer. Oh, I'm also saying 7, right around 8, 7.5. You saw the Dark Tower trailer for the first time. Thoughts? While he's thinking,
I don't know. I'd rather read the book. I might have to do that.
A lot of people say that though. I'm still trying to hold Kevin into that. I can listen to all 50 Stephen King novels in 1 month. And
I don't think there's enough hours.
I don't think there was either, but somebody put his foot in his mouth on the last video.
I should go back and watch the Dead Zone series in USA. I think that.
I saw that there was that. But, now, the problem with listening to The Dark Tower, I don't know if there's a singular novel. Because
there's 3 novels in the trilogy.
Yeah, but when I was looking it up, there's more than 3 novels.
There's 6? I looked it up the other day. I did look it up the other day, but I don't. There was a lot. I think I'm going to say maybe 6.
I do know if when you look it up and you're looking on like Barnes & Noble or Amazon for the hardbacks of the comics, they have a case you can get that's $92 that has like 10 different things in it. But I think because there's a comic that follows the gunslinger specifically, and then there's the overarching story. But I'm looking forward to it. I like Idris Elba. We're gonna see him twice this year. Dark Tower, and he's in Thor Ragnarok as Heimdall. It'll be interesting to see kind of what happens. I'm not sure what's gonna come up next. We've got a few weeks, I think. We've got Alien Covenant. I know Kevin not going to see that, which is fine. I'll probably see it and do a review. I think we're gonna try to do a few things that we've been just kind of slacking on, whether it's watch a few series on Amazon or on Netflix and do reviews of the beginnings or the whole thing. Maybe I think we're gonna try to finish the last season of Ruby and do that review. So we got things rolling, and as
a few big book releases coming out towards the end of the year as well that I want to do. I know Oathbringer is coming out in November, and there's another book in November. Which one is it? I don't remember.
Honestly, don't look at me. But
Yeah, there's a couple big book releases coming up this fall that I'm going to do. I don't know if it's summer yet. I'm talking about fall.
that's okay. We've got a bunch of stuff on the docket, and we're always looking for new games to do recordings of, and we're always trying new things. You know, we may do more on location videos if that's a possibility. We may just go back into Kevin's cave in the apartment and film from the studio, if you will. A lot of it just depends on situations and locations. So thanks for sticking with us. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. I post everything on everywhere, Facebook. And until next time.
Thanks for staying till after the credits.